point, I'm going to move to item 7. This is an information item on the petition to transfer territory from the Glendale Unified School District to the Lafayette School District. Mr. Crafton.
Thank you. Now that the secret review and public hearing have concluded, the committee will continue to review the materials it has received. At a later county committee meeting, to be determined by the chair, the petition will be reviewed. At that time, the committee will review the 9 conditions, review the secret report, and adopt it, and take a final vote on whether to approve or deny the petition. If the committee denies the petition, the process ends pending any appeal to the State Board of Education. If the committee approves the petition, they will adopt a voting area for the petition, and an election to be scheduled, again pending any appeal to the State Board of Education. I'd like to point out one fact. Despite inaccurate reports in the press by some individuals, the committee has not yet voted on this petition. At its May 3rd, 2017 meeting, a number of preliminary or straw votes were taken, all non-binding, as the committee discussed each of the conditions used to analyze the petition. The request to let the petition move forward and to have a secret report conducted is in no way an approval of the petition. When the committee next reviews the full petition, including the secret report, it has the option to make a binding vote and decision on this petition. After reviewing the petition at an upcoming meeting, the committee may also request additional information it may need to make a final decision. As I said, no binding or official vote has been taken at this point. The official or binding vote will be taken at a future meeting.
Okay. So at this point, we will take public comments on the actual substance of the petition. And we'll start off with Nick Carapetian, followed by, no excuse for that her name before, Nalini Lesbos. Thank you.
Good morning again. Although today's agenda is on CEQA, many territory residents and supporters are here today to thank you, the committee, for finding that our transfer merits approval, although preliminarily still merits approval, and putting into motion the CEQA process. So I'd like to thank all the residents and supporters who want to raise your hands. These are people who took off from work and all their obligations to be here today. Some of you are new to the committee and were not at public hearings, at multiple 20-minute presentations, or the 2017 vote. Your exposure to our cause may be limited to a binder of documents or the GUSD's exaggerated and outlandish statements, and that's okay. I simply ask you keep an open mind. You allow us to make our presentations at the appropriate meeting, listen to the residents of the community and on both sides, and I am confident at the end you will find that the facts support a final approval. Today, we also want to update you on key facts that we believe validate your assessment of the conditions and preliminary approval. So one key fact is that over the last few years, well over 50% of the territory students have already moved from Glendale Unified to Lafayette Unified. And there has been no substantial impact on either district. Another fact is that Mountain Avenue, the drop-off that they were saying that it might be impacted, that land in Lafayette stays with Glendale Unified, so it should not impact Mountain Avenue if the transfer takes place. They'll own that land forever, and they can use that as a drop-off, pickup, whatever they want. And lastly, there are in Lafayette's Palmcrest Elementary, 120 out-of-district students outside of the territory students. So in other words, there are students out of district taking up space, well, not taking up space, but in that school. So just want to kind of point out that there's more space. If Lafayette feels comfortable, then they feel comfortable. We'll elaborate on all of these facts and others that are going to be mentioned here in a future meeting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Ms. Leisowitz, followed by Scott Tracy.
Good morning again. I'm Nalini Lesbos. I'm Chief Petitioner. I'm going to set aside what I had hoped to talk about, talking once again why we want to do this, because our motives are completely mischaracterized year after year, decade after decade. What I do want to address is that when your committee gave us a tentative approval last May of 2017, Secretary Crafton stated that the motion had been preliminarily approved pending the CEQA study. In further minutes of the committee's meetings, we were advised that after the committee gave their preliminary approval to the proposal to our petition, the staff would undertake a CEQA review and then advise the county committee, which we thought that was this meeting today. It went on to say, at that time, the county committee will take the final vote on the petition. So being told now that, well, first of all, we've been negotiating and talking to Glendale for 17 months since our preliminary approval. A week and a half ago, we received a document that calls into question almost every condition that you approved a year and a half ago. I would have thought that this document and this discussion would have happened during the appeals process. One of my roles in this committee is to work on the website and the communications and to answer questions from our supporters. As I said, we've already put 5 years into this, and I fully expected that today you would vote on this CEQA. That's what you told us the process was. You have a flow chart that tells us after your vote, then Glendale can appeal. This should have been part of the Sacramento process, not the process on the CEQA hearing. I hope you will someone will make a motion to adopt this MMD. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Tracy, followed by Christina.
Hello again, Scott Tracy. I want to share with you a fact that involving Nick's lead here that we believe supports your, I'll call it preliminary approval of the transfer, and that is as follows. Glendale's financial impact related to transferred students is nowhere near the $2.7 million being touted. A figure based on the transfer of 356 students that includes the 200 plus already transferred. Importantly, that $2.7 million figure has no offset for the cost savings from no longer educating these students. An offset that CDE says should be factored in when considering the financial impact to a transferring district. Plus, La Cañada has offered to allow existing territory students wanting to remain in Glendale to do so after the transfer, which Glendale completely ignores in its negative impact calculation. And under any circumstances, even if you accepted 2.7 as a legitimate number, that funding loss is not material. It's less than 1% of its 18-19 budget of nearly $300 million. Thank you.
Christina Toussaint, followed by Stuart McKinney.
We're going already, all right. So I just wanted to point out that this transfer process has been, sorry, oh, it's restarting.
It's okay, I'll give you an extra minute.
Okay.
Sorry, you have your full.
Thank you, sorry about that. I did adjust the microphone from my side. All right, so as has been mentioned, this transfer petition has been something that the residents have been seeking for over 50 years. We have the full support of the city. We have the full support of the district. It's something that's been going on for some time. In this committee alone, it's been going on for 17 months alone for the CEQA report. Our students and our families are really impacted significantly by the time that this has taken. And we just want to be able to be part of our local school district. We want to be part of our local community. And essentially, you've heard from us the heartfelt pleas to get this done. We have students who are transferred, and we don't know. Glendale could decide any day to not allow us to be permitted to be in there. And then I have to tell my child that he can't go to school with his friends in the district because they decided to make a change in connection with this proceeding. These are our heartfelt stories. You've heard from people who haven't been able to get in. My children were not able to get in and attend, so they've had to start at a later time period. It is a very challenging process for us, and we ask that you move on this quickly and don't make us continue to be held at abeyance, because we can't make decisions on childcare, on where our children are going to be going the next year. Waiting to the last minute to make sure a permit gets approved is very upsetting emotionally and frustrating for the community. Also, I want to point out that Mountain Avenue's enrollment has remained stable even though all of these students have transferred over. I can tell you anecdotally, I know people who still go there, the classroom sizes are very high. They're 35, 36 students per class, as opposed to Palmcrest, which I know we're going with their goals of keeping class sizes low, but far from a classroom crisis, you're talking about 8 to 10 kids at least less, in my personal experience, per classroom. So locking out intends to keep those numbers, but I do think some perspective needs to be maintained about what the figures are. With hundreds of transfer students moved over, I think it's really critical that we understand what that means. Also, the point that was made earlier, that La Cañada has previously allowed non-territory, non-resident students in over 100 a year, and that Sagebrush students would then be filling those spots is something that I think should not be lost or ignored in this committee. You're talking about 120 or more spots that just will not be granted permits to people who don't live in the city and will be given to the Sagebrush students. So I feel like these figures of there's only 13 spots are not taking into account the realities that have been addressed by the people in La Cañada who run the school district and who can clearly tell you what's going on. It's not a classroom crisis. There's plenty of room. The city has the funding. The students want to remain in our community. We want to be able to give assurances. You can't plan your future if you have to wait to the last minute to the day before school. You can't plan your after school care. You can't figure out for sure where your child is going to be going if you're constantly going through a permitting process. We need finality, and to delay this for another year or more would be inappropriate. And we ask that you act quickly on this, realizing there are real lives at stake.
Thank you very much. Stuart McKinney, followed by Nick Tapas.
Could everyone please wait until the clock is reset before you speak? Thank you.
Hello again. My name is Stuart McKinney, and as I said, I have twin middle schoolers in 8th grade at La Cañada Middle School now. I want to present another fact that hopefully supports your preliminary approval of our transfer. This is just, we're going back to Mountain Avenue. Mountain Avenue currently has about 80 territory transfer students that are currently students there. That is TK through 6th grade, which is less than 50% of their total student population. This is further evidence that the impact of this transfer will have a limited impact on all of the programs at Mountain Avenue. In addition, although GUSD has much higher class sizes than La Cañada, last year Mountain Avenue almost reached complete capacity with only 30 seats within all of its classes from TK through 6. When my kids in 4th grade at Mountain Avenue, there were 39 kids in their 4th grade class. 5th grade, when they transferred to La Cañada, there were 26 and 28 in their classes, which is a huge difference in my children's education. It's different philosophy of both schools. Capacity is not a big issue to Glendale. La Cañada it is. Even with this transfer, we have 215 students already in La Cañada. My son's 8th grade math class has 19 students. So there is plenty of room for all of La Cañada, all of the Sagebrush students to come over without too much stuff. So, and according to still families in Mountain Avenue, they are busting at the seams. They're at capacity with 36 kids per classroom. Thank you. We appreciate your approval of this territory transfer.
Nick Tapas, followed by Brad Osford.
Good morning. My name is Nick Takas. I wanted to speak to I wanted to underscore a couple of points relative to the notion that a LCUSD faces a capacity crisis. As mentioned by several of the speakers today, La Cañada Unified has seamlessly integrated 215 territory students into the schools currently. More so, the typical permitting, the typical enrollment numbers, the consistent numbers are 100 to 200 new permitted students per year. That is a typical enrollment of new students. So I think that that's a key point that shows the capacity that they have available to new students. Thank you.
Brad Osford, followed by Peter Lyons.
Hi, members of the committee. Thanks again for letting us speak here. As you can tell, there's a lot of passion on our side. People have been working on this for a long time. So there's probably a lot of emotion with it as well. Another fact that we believe supports your preliminary approval of the transfer is that since 2013, there's been a growing demand by territory families to move their children to La Cañada schools, representing over 60% of territory families with school-age kids. So just simply when you look at who has opted into La Cañada, the desire to be in that school system and to be in the local schools is strong and clear. So this is clear and further evidence of the primary purpose behind the petition, and thanks for your consideration.
Thank you.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
what was the gentleman's name?
Peter Lyons? No, Grant Hall. Okay, no. Peter. Peter Lyons? Yes, thank you. Did you get your? Sorry. Peter Lyons followed by Shan Shatia, if I got that clear.
Thank you again for your time, and I quickly just want to say that I'm confident that you will support this transfer and that it is consistent with the 9 conditions of the educational code. And most importantly, I just ask you that you don't allow this process, this discussion of a transfer to be postponed, hijacked by CEQA. That truly, I believe, the process is the CEQA process should be determined today, and I'm anxious to hear have this move forward at the next hearing for an actual discussion on the transfer. Thank you.
Correct me on your last name, please.
No problem, Sahakian.
Thank you very much.
Dear County,
Followed by Winfred Roberson. Thank you. Go ahead.
committee members and staff, my name is Sean Sahakian. I'm the proud member of the Glendale Unified School District Board of Education, and I'm here to oppose the petition on behalf of GUSD. First and foremost, we are all here to serve the educational needs of our community's children and students, and we take great pride in serving each and every one of the students in Glendale Unified School District. The transfer represents a potential change to permanent boundaries that have existed for more than 90 years. Statutory law and CD guidelines state that there must be a compelling and overarching need to support the petition. There is none in this petition. The petition fails to meet multiple conditions, first of which is condition 6, because USD programs and students' education will be disrupted. At Mountain Avenue, 45% of impacted students are in extracurricular programs. Our impacted families volunteer regularly on campus and are an integral part of the Mountain Avenue fabric. At Crescent Valley High School, 67% of impacted students participate in advanced classes, and 73% of students participate in programs and classes that are not offered at La Cañada High School. The removal of these students will have a significant impact on program participation and family involvement at our schools. The financial loss will also have a direct impact on all of our students in terms of classes and program availability. The petition does not meet condition 2 because school districts are already organized on the basis of community identity. Per your committee staff report, the committee is not tasked with creating boundaries coterminous with cities. The petition cannot be used to remedy the bad behavior of some civic organizations in La Cañada towards our students and families. And committee staff stated that the territory residents benefit from cross-border community alignment based on their location, and they found no existing community identity mismatch. The Glendale Unified School District has already provided an educational solution for what should be an educational issue. Territory families who wish to transfer to LCUSD can request a permit, and GUSD will honor their request. Many of our families have continued to attend Glendale Unified School District schools, and we are proud to serve each and every one of them. We respectfully request that the committee reconsiders its initial tentative decision and deny the petition, and please help us keep the Glendale Unified School District whole. Thank you.
Thank you. One more. Winfred Roberson, followed by Jennifer Freeman.
Good morning, County Committee members, staff. Again, Winfred Roberson, Superintendent. We're here because of students and families, and I understand the gravity of the decision that this committee must make. I would like to bring it back to the students and the families that we serve. In the audience, I'm not aware of any of our Sagebrush families that have students in the Glendale Unified School District that are here asking to be separated from the Glendale Unified School District. I have personally called our Sagebrush families that are in our district. They're happy. I'm going to say that again. I'm unaware of any of the families in the Sagebrush area who have students in the Glendale Unified School District that are being served by our district that are requesting to be separated. They're at our schools, they're being served, and they are happy. I know because I personally.
Dr. Robertson, you're the one right behind you.
Okay. All right. All right.
Please go on.
Okay. Again, as mentioned by our trustee, we have made an arrangement for any family that wishes to transfer to be able to transfer. That has been a compromise that has been reached between the two districts. We have made an avenue available for families that wish to transfer. Again, there's been no educational reason for this. We have seen financial reasons, but no educational reasons. When we look and compare the two school districts, both are great school districts that serve families and serve students. Glendale Unified School District serves its families' commitment to Mountain, and there was a comment made about Mountain Avenue being able to backfill for the families that have left. Well, because we've accepted IDGTs, those are transfers within our school district. It's not new students. So I think the reality and those that are here from the La Cañada Unified School District understands that process. When we talk about capacity from a school district, as those students that you get attrition, La Cañada has attrition, they're able to accept more students, but it is not because they have capacity to keep accepting students. So let's not play the shell game here. I don't want to engage in mudslinging here. I respect the La Cañada School District and how they serve students, but I also must object to the mudslinging about our school district. We are serving families and happy to continue to serve our Sagebrush families.
Thank you very much. Jennifer Freeman, followed by Steve Dickinson.
Good morning, and I know I spoke with you guys last time, so I will be quite brief. We are very proud in Glendale Unified School District to be an inclusive district. One of the things that I have not heard a whole lot about so far is the educational need for this transfer to happen. We have 26,000 kids in our district, and we are happy and proud to serve each and every one of them, regardless of if they come to us from in the district or out of the district. We love each and value each and every one of them, and we do a very, very good job with this. We are not seeing an educational need for these students to separate and leave our family. And we want them, we do a good job with them, and we would like to continue to keep that community whole. As we say up at Mountain Avenue, we are better together, and we would like to stay that way. Thank you.
Steve Dickinson, followed by Reed Bezdicky.
Good morning again, Steve Dickinson, Chief Financial Officer for Glendale Unified District. I know there's questions about the number of students, but if we use the number that's in the petition, 2.7 million per year, that is correct. It is about 1% of our total budget, but it's also about 50% of our current solvency target. We are under a mandated LACOE solvency plan of about $5 million per year. That is a difficult task already to I always use the analogy of chasing a ball downhill. It's hard to catch that $5 million target each year. To have it increase by 50% or more would be truly devastating. And it cannot all be made up just in one or two schools in the north side of the district. There is not an automatic cost offset. To put that into perspective, in teachers, 2.7 million would be roughly 27 teachers. I guarantee you that would affect the entire GUSD, not just a couple of schools in the north. Thank you.
Thank you. Reed Bezdicky.
Good morning.
Myself and many of our Sagebrush families are here today in support of the transfer. My family moved into Sagebrush with hopes that my kids can attend La Cañada School District. I support the transfer because it would ensure that La Cañada would be able to plan ahead and accommodate all of the Sagebrush children, including my own, as they have demonstrated that they are capable and prepared to do. Unfortunately, because of the current ad hoc permit process, we weren't able to attend La Cañada this current school year. And that uncertainty and anxiety involved in the process was very emotionally upsetting for my family. This transfer is really about our children and their education. Giving them the greater sense and well-being of full engagement and involvement in one's own community. At the various public hearings, you have heard the heartfelt stories of Sagebrush families who feel their kids do not have the full sense of belonging in either the La Crescenta or La Cañada community. A sense that they have one foot in each community but belong to neither. The transfer would allow all La Cañada residents to attend its hometown schools permanently, while Glendale, La Crescenta, and Montrose would remain whole. We have presented research that concluded that community cohesiveness produces positive results for student achievement and helps children excel in school. This is the real reason why we seek this change. I hope this issue will be resolved as soon as possible in favor of the transfer. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the...
There's one other speaker who wasn't able to sign up.
Yes, please go ahead. As I was saying, that's the last name I have on the list. Anybody else? Two people? Okay, thank you very much. Your name is Alexa.
Good morning, and thank you for allowing me to talk. I am Ivaria Piskulich. I came to this country with tourist visa, then it was changed to student visa, and I graduated from high school. When I wanted to go to college, I graduated from USC, but I couldn't go to USC immediately because I was considered a foreign student. I wish I would have been better prepared this morning, but I am an accountant and working many, many hours until October 15th, and I made the exception to come here. In fact, clients are waiting for me, but I wanted to be here. I am aware, I do not know all the laws, but when I wanted to go to a junior college, such as Glendale or Pasadena or LA City College, because I couldn't go immediately to USC, even though I was a top student, I couldn't get any kind of financial aid, but that's beside the point. The point is that I ended up paying a non-resident tuition, even though from a domicile point of view, I was a resident of the United States, LA County. I am aware, Glendale, junior colleges bring a lot of foreign students from other countries. They have stayed in my house with me, and they charge them a lot of money, but I'm talking about junior colleges. I don't know about the elementary, high school, but Rivet Academy is a private school, and I know they also have foreign students. I am giving a recommendation, if they are allowed to do, an idea, a source of income, to bring a lot of Korean students that want to come to Mountain. I have them. I have had in my house Korean teachers that they came to teach at Mountain School. There will be a source of income. This is a recommendation if they can do that, because I know they push very hard. Glendale Junior College, I don't know what amount of money they get for foreign students, but they have a bunch of foreign students, I can tell you. So it's an idea. If the elementary or high schools can bring in foreign students from another country, there will be a sort of income because they charge about 5 times more than a normal resident. That's all. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. Thank you. Thank you.
I just said I had to say something. I'm Harriet Hammonds. I've been a resident of the Sagebrush area since 1970. When I moved there, I didn't know Sagebrush versus La Cañada. But I got right involved in La Cañada. My children went to Glendale schools. They did very well, and they accommodated them. My granddaughter's there now. I appreciate how they're accommodating her at Crescenta Valley High School. But I live in La Cunada, Flintridge. I don't live in Glendale. I don't live in Montrose. I don't live in the county. I don't live in Pasadena. I'll tell a lot of people that I live in near the Rose Bowl because, you know, a lot of people don't even know that JPL and NASA is very important, even though Glendale claims it too. But I've been speaking at these meetings every time they happen in our community. It's the first time I've come here, and it's just ridiculous. We've got Glendale coming up, we have La Cunada. You know, the children need to be looked at. And many of my friends, during the time when my children were in school, they moved. They kept their home in the Sagebrush area, and they moved into the heart of La Cunada. And many of them, one of these guys said, I got to go to my reunion at La Cunada. And I go, oh, that's right, they moved, and that's why. I'm standing up here for the children and for the parents. We need to be able to do this. Most of the people around me all go to La Cunada schools, and I think that's what they should be doing. And I hope it continues, and there's no break in that. I don't know what you're going to do, but we certainly would like to resolve this. I've been actually hearing about this since 1976 or before, I don't know. All right. When I bought my house, nobody told me I was living in a mixed area. But anyway, thank you very much for all of you and being here this morning. And it's a very interesting process, and I hope it gets resolved. Thank you.
We appreciate your time. Thank you. Do we have any other speakers? Is that the last one? Thank you, sir. Your name? Oh, microphone.
My name is Kenneth Green. I'm a 23-year resident of the Sagebrush area. I moved into Sagebrush knowing that my kids would go to the school district. I've got a 27-year-old daughter who now has her master's from Pepperdine, a 24-year-old son, and an almost 22-year-old daughter who is a teacher looking to get into Teach American as part of their reading credentials. The first thing I wanted to do was address Glendale. They've done a great job in terms of education. It's not the question. I participated in this event many, many years ago. I came just to support the people that are keeping this fight alive. All my kids have graduated. But my kids asked me. They said, Dad, please go and support. Please go and communicate the importance of being a member of a community is into your involvement as an overall being. Please go and support the people that are carrying the fight that you started. Because when we went to play in sports, we weren't allowed to, because of our address, participate in certain areas. When we went to volunteer in certain areas in La Cunada, we were excluded from those opportunities. My parents were La Cunadans of the year. They ingrained a sense of community and support. But school and community go together. And for the residents of this small area, it's a very divisive situation that they're in.
Yes.
So my 3 kids asked, please go, please support, please attend. Let them know how important it is to do extracurricular activities with your students that you're going to school with, to be a part of that community. We didn't have that. We don't want the next generation to have that. I'm not here to complain about Glendale. I'm here to thank them for the work they did with my kids. They were phenomenal. But this is a huge issue in terms of the development of the overall individual. 23 years ago, if I could have, I would not have purchased the home in the area that I did. I didn't realize the burden it placed on my kids in terms of doing this. So I ask you to consider this petition, to move it forward, and bring this to a resolution in favor of the students in this area. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
One more.
Okay, last one, I hope. Thank you.
And quick, too.
Your name, please?
My name is Tara Durkin. I've talked to many members in this committee, including even Mr. Romero, on my birthday, May 3rd. And as we start to approach the spring months, April is really the only month that a transfer student can plan on, am I going to apply? Will I be accepted? Will I not be accepted? And, you know, it's a very precarious way for someone to plan their personal life. I know from my own experience, when I came to La Cañada, I came as the vice president of my PTA in Redondo Beach. I had served at my school 4 days a week as a full-time job as a mother for I got no personal funding out of that. I didn't look for any favors out of that. I was happy to serve because I had sold my company. I believe in public schools. I came to my neighborhood. I went to Mountain Avenue. The principal at the time told me there was no room in the inn. Have a nice day. I lived in a 6-bedroom house. I had twin daughters. I was a single woman. And then I went to the La Cañada Schools District, and they didn't have any room at the inn either. Now both schools have room for everyone. I have put my daughters through maybe middle school, from 3rd grade to 4 years at LMU on my foot, on my pocket, and I didn't sue any school district, and I never complained. But I am going to say something here. When you move to an area that's supposed to be a really good area, and then you have that guy that's coming up here, neighbor shaming, let me tell you something. There are 2 to 3 different neighborhoods in this area, and I have been an AYS soccer coach, and I've worked at the YMCA as a basketball coach, and I've done all these things. And what happens when you're in our area, the Sagebrush area, we're not a member of this beloved Glendale group, because they look at us like, oh, you're from La Cañada. And then you're in this other group, and everybody's from Pasadena or Altadena. Your children never meet their neighbors. That's what we want. We just want community. I think it's a very fair and easy decision to make, and I want to come off of this 33 minutes short. I just want to thank you again for your time, for respecting this process, and for coming to a positive solution on this.
I apologize.
This will be the last speaker.
Yeah, I just have to say something. I wasn't planning on.
Can we have your name, please?
My name is Talmine Arsenyan. I'm a classroom teacher for the Glendale Unified School District. I've been in the classroom for 20 years. And let me just share that in the classroom, every student that is seated in that chair is not an address. That is a student that needs to be educated, and the teacher's major goal is to achieve success with that student. Now, the petitioners are asking for what they already have. The petitioners that are requesting this are already sending their students to La Cañada Unified School District. Unfortunately, they want to make decisions for the other parents that live in Sagebrush that have already made a decision for their child. The parents' involvement and decision-making is crucial in the success of a teacher in the classroom. And those parents have already decided their child is going to Mountain Avenue. Their child has already created a community with their Mountain Avenue friends, and the petitioners want to take that away from our Sagebrush families that have chosen Mountain Avenue. That is unfortunate for those students because it is going to impact their lives for the rest of their lives. Their educational career is going to be impacted, and that is not what we want for the best interest of our students. I beg of you, please imagine what that child is going to go through by having that decision made for that family by somebody who doesn't know that family. That's very important to think about. So as a classroom teacher, I'm asking you to do what's in the best interest of our students. Thank you.
So that's the end of this agenda item. I just wanted to reiterate some comments made by Keith. We will be reviewing this as an upcoming meeting. We also just received the sequel report late last week. We take comments sent to us very seriously. We take your public comment on the microphone very seriously. Committee members may present other questions to staff before we're ready to review this. We will let you know when we are going to have a meeting to make the final vote on this. I also want to emphasize that despite some impressions out there, there has been no binding vote by this committee. I suspect it's going to be 60 days from now, but we will try to move it to 30 days from now for the final decision. But staff will let you know in a timely manner. Any other comments? At this point, anyway, we thank you very much for your attendance. I appreciate it.